In the grand ballroom of the Kensington Palace wasn't just quiet, it was terrified. Just seconds ago, Duke Julian had laughed in his wife's face, calling her a penniless nobody in front of London's elite. He held his mistress's hand, thinking he had won. But then the heavy oak doors groaned open. The visiting Emperor of Austria didn't walk toward the king. He didn't walk toward the Prime Minister. He walked straight toward the trembling woman in the corner, Julian's worthless wife, and dropped to both knees, pressing his forehead to the floor. "Forgive us, Your Imperial Highness." The Emperor wept. "We have searched the world for you." Julian's glass shattered on the floor, but the sound was drowned out by the realization that he had just enslaved a queen. The rain in London did not wash away the grime of the city. It merely made the cobblestones slick and treacherous, much like the atmosphere inside Blackwood Manor. Elara stood by the tall, drafty window of the drawing room, her reflection a pale ghost against the darkening glass. She wore a dress of simple gray wool, lacking the intricate embroidery and lace that adorned the gowns of the women her husband Julian Blackwood, the Duke of Ashford, preferred to entertain. "Must you stand there like a spectre, Elara?" The voice cut through the silence like a whip. Julian strode into the room, tossing his riding gloves onto a mahogany table with a careless thud. He was a handsome man, objectively speaking tall, with hair the color of midnight and eyes like cold steel, but his cruelty had warped his features in Elara's eyes. "I was merely waiting for your return, my lord," Elara said softly, turning to face him. "Cook has prepared the venison you enjoy." Julian sneered, pouring himself a glass of brandy without offering her a drop. "I will not be dining here tonight. I have an engagement at Lady Genevieve's salon, a place where the conversation is actually stimulating and the women know how to dress for their station." Elara felt the familiar sting of humiliation, but she kept her face impassive. It had been 2 years since their marriage, a union arranged by Julian's father before his death to settle a gambling debt owed to Elara's late guardian, a reclusive merchant named Arthur Vance. Julian had resented the marriage from the moment the ink dried. He saw Elara as a burden, a commoner with no pedigree, no title, and no fortune other than the cleared debt. "Julian," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "it is our anniversary." He paused, the glass halfway to his lips, and then let out a sharp, incredulous laugh. "And do you expect a celebration, a gift?" He walked closer to her, looming over her petite frame. "Let us be clear, Elara. You are the Duchess of Ashford in name only. You have no status. You bring no alliances to this house. You are a merchant's ward who got lucky. Do not embarrass me by pretending we are a real match." "I am your wife," she whispered, her chin lifting slightly. "And I bear the Ashford name with more dignity than you bear your vows." His eyes narrowed. For a second she thought he might strike her. Instead he leaned in, his breath smelling of expensive spirits. "Dignity. You wouldn't know the meaning of the word. You are invisible, Elara. The tone tolerates you because of me. Without my title, you are nothing but a gutter rat Arthur Vance took pity on. Remember that." He finished his drink in one gulp, set the glass down with a heavy clink, and stormed out. The heavy front door slammed, shaking the portraits of his ancestors on the walls, ancestors who seemed to look down on Elara with the same disdain as their descendant. Elara waited until the sound of his carriage faded into the rainy night. Only then did she allow her shoulders to slump. She walked over to the small locked bureau in the corner of the room, the only piece of furniture she had brought with her from her guardian's home. She pulled a small key from a chain hidden beneath her bodice and unlocked the drawer. Inside lay a bundle of letters tied with a faded purple ribbon and a heavy signet ring bearing a crest that did not belong to any English house, a double-headed eagle clutching a sword and a lily. "Invisible," she murmured, tracing the cold gold of the ring. "If only you knew, Julian. Invisibility is the only thing keeping you alive." She was not Elara Vance. That name was a construct, a shield forged by loyalists to protect a child smuggled out of a burning palace 20 years ago during the Great Coup of Valoria. She was Grand Duchess Anastasia Elara von Habsburg-Lorraine, the sole survivor of the royal house of Valoria. But to the world and to her cruel husband, she was just the boring, statusless wife waiting at home. The following morning, the atmosphere in London shifted. The grey